Actually live somewhere on the interwebs.
Sweet.
Welcome in to Gun Talk Live. I think you can't see the little red deal there, huh?
Got more handsome.
I feel like
And bearded.
Or older.
what happened here? All right, so let's see if it's telling me that we're actually live on the Facebooks. So I'll be monitoring Facebook. KJ behind the scenes will be monitoring YouTube's, and we'll go from there. So who is this man sitting next to me? Can we think we're safe? I think we're safe. All right. Welcome in, Gun Talk Live. Thanks for watching. Today's Gun Talk Live is brought to you by Colt, still making history and making pythons, which is pretty cool. So today on the show, we have Gary Killingsworth with us. Hi. Gary's here. So Gary is a new member of Team Gun Talk. Welcome in, dude.
Brand new. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So what you guys need to know about Gary is he's a Sagittarius? No, I don't know. What?
Aquarius.
Aquarius. He
Yeah,
likes
yeah.
long walks on the beach. Who doesn't really?
Yeah.
But he's from the gun industry. Tell him about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, new to Gun Talk and came from Crimson Trace.
Yep.
Was at Crimson Trace for just about 10 years.
And you got to do a lot of fun stuff there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Honestly, a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Crimson Trace, when I was first coming in and we were growing so much, and the company got big, brand got big, got to go on all kinds of adventures and build and grow things. And
Well, and you got a lot of trigger time there too.
a lot of trigger time.
So, I mean, going to schools,
Yep.
gun site and other schools,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But also, when you really get trigger time is product testing.
Product testing.
Tell us about
so much.
Tell
yeah.
us about product testing.
So yeah, and a lot of companies do this, but I know firsthand Crimson Trace quality.
Sure.
So before a product is released, it has had thousands and thousands and thousands of rounds, and that's generally done by employees.
It's not a robot doing it.
No,
It's real
no.
hands.
Yeah, it's real hands, and real hands reporting on things, installing. The testing includes the installation of the product, as well as taking it off, putting it back on. Is it
Sure.
holding zero?
Right.
How's battery life? Is it up to standards?
Yeah, that's what you guys were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, probably some people go, "Oh, sweet, thousands of rounds a week, jamming on it."
Yeah.
But is it fun, or does it get tedious?
So there's a couple ways of looking at it, right? So once in a while you'll get firearms that may not be fun to roll through a session of 500 rounds
Right.
with.
Yeah.
Not everything is
Magnum
a
stuff.
Tune 1911,
Right.
And you're also you're doing all your reloading
Oh,
as well. So
no one to reload
yeah,
for you.
it's
All right, we got
full
a
service.
comment.
Yes, this one comes from KJ at the Gun Talk offices. He says, "Why aren't we? Why aren't we announcing the winners and saying that we have a contest for this week?"
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Block. Report that comment if you could. So.
I feel like we're getting heckled by the people here.
Yeah.
All right. So, dear KJ, so we have a winner from last week's Lockdown Puck video we did with Rennell, and the winner is Boyd Bauer, right? Did I mess this all up? You're shaking your
You're
head.
right.
Okay.
You're right.
Silence.
Congrats.
Congrats, Boyd. Did we have a comment from Boyd? Did you have anything to put up there for Boyd? I know you're watching, Boyd. Come on.
Puck of the draw, right?
Puck of the draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is a lucky pucker.
Yeah. Yes, he-
All right. So if you comment this week, you're entered to win the Surefire stiletto. You may remember that we were giving this away, and the restraint dude who won it didn't want to win it. So whatever. He doesn't like freedom or flashlights and illumination. So it's back on the table. The Surefire stiletto. Comment. You're entered to win. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So anyway, going back to testing guns.
Yeah.
So, a lot of rounds down range. I would think that when you're just trying to get through and blow through a magazine, you could be at the risk of like really grooving some bad habits. You
can, absolutely. I mean, it comes down to, a lot of it comes down to your approach, right? I mean, treat it as, this is training time, even though it's not my pistol necessarily. Right. It may not even be something that I would ever consider owning, right? Necessarily, but it's a chance to shoot. It's a chance to work on your trigger time. Yeah. Absolutely.
Shooting real ammo.
Real ammo.
That you didn't pay for.
Yep. And it's, being a laser advocate, which I am, it does give you a chance to also work off of your irons versus your laser at the same time, because part of the testing is not necessarily keeping that beam on all the time.
That's true. So I think that's a good opportunity to get the argument started. So if you're watching on YouTube, watching on Facebook, comment. Okay, lasers on guns versus not lasers. Where do you fall? What do you think about lasers for your guns, carry guns, or whatever else? This is a guy who's dealt with it for a long time. We have quite a bit of experience kind of testing what seems to work or what doesn't work. So let us know what your opinions are about that, because it seems like there are a lot of strong opinions about lasers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. KJ, you got a comment? Another comment from KJ at Gun Talk?
Yes, actually, yes. This I find that okay. So talking about the lasers versus non-lasers.
Yeah.
What's a non-laser?
Not having a laser.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Non-laser.
Yeah, non-laser.
Yeah.
But I find that people tend to rely heavily on them, and they don't. Maybe they don't go to the range as much as they should to practice with their irons, and they just say, you know what, I'm good. I've got a laser. I know it's on. How often? I guess this would be a question for you, Gary.
Yeah.
Is how often really should you check the zero on your laser? I mean, is it a pretty consistent? Does it get knocked off? How often should they do that?
So, I mean, quality lasers are. I mean, you can trust them to hold zero, but here's the thing: you're gonna check the condition of that firearm, right? You're gonna check, make sure your mag's full.
Right.
You're gonna check its condition. Period. You're gonna be checking the laser at the same time. Should be.
So
is it lined up with your sights? Is it lined up with the distance?
Yep.
That you want it to be at.
So you're saying you'd advocate. I mean, if we're talking about concealed carry guns, the gun that you're going to put on for the day.
Yeah.
Make sure you confirm the condition it's in, and along those lines, in a careful way, go ahead and aim it out, turn the laser on. Okay, is it on? Is it lining up with my sights at a particular distance?
Yeah, absolutely.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are people who go, no, I got a laser, I'm good.
A lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but I mean the thing is it's still part of your equipment.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's part of the entire system altogether, and a lot of it comes down to with where you sight in that laser with your sights.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, some people at a closer range will want that dot resting right on top of that front sight.
Right.
And you got to realize you've got two things that are happening in a straight line.
Yeah.
So eventually
laser, they're not going to be sighted at the same place.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're picking a distance.
Yeah.
We've got Mark Schneider. He says, I've heard folks say it's easy to lose sight of your laser. Fact?
Oh, like finding it, being able to see the laser? I'm sure. It depends on the condition, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if you have got a red laser in bright sunlight, we found that to be true, that can be like, where is it? I can't see it.
Oh, yeah.
And depending on what the clothing is.
Yep. It's the laser's an auxiliary sighting system.
It's not your primary necessarily.
Should not be your primary.
Okay.
It is when conditions change and you have to come off of your sights.
Yeah.
You can trust that laser will be there. You can run into a bad habit of, punching out to a laser and having to chase that dot.
Sure.
Like that can definitely cause bad habits. You're punching out to your iron sights. That laser is there.
Yeah.
It's there. So
when things become dynamic, you may be, and probably if you're in the habit of punching out to your iron sights, you're going to see that laser because now you're kind of lined up probably a lot better than just searching for where it is. Where is it?
Hey, totally. And Me personally, I'm an advocate for, I like to have my laser sighted in at a longer distance. That way, as I'm punching out to my iron sights, I don't necessarily see the laser at all.
It'd be below it?
It'd be below it.
Okay.
So as things change, or I have to move, or I have to draw closer back into my body, I know I'm still maintaining contact with that target at
Gotcha.
that point.
So this week, you're in for the week. We're kind of planning some stuff out. Gary is also a digital mastermind. And
Mastermind.
That's official on your card, right?
That's
on your card. A wizard? Yeah.
Wizard.
Graphic design, digital guru kind of guy. Mastermind guru kind of guy.
Yeah, I like that.
So we're working on that stuff. We actually just released the first episode of Gun Talk Nation. So Gun Talk Nation is a new show that we're doing. It's both a podcast and available for video. So if you were following us on YouTube or Facebook, you may have seen the video pop up. But if you subscribe to our podcast content on Apple iTunes, Stitcher, iHeart, whatever, you'll see it pop up, Gun Talk Nation. And so that's a show where we kind of talk to different people about, kind of behind the scenes of the gun world.
Yeah.
And this week we had, to kick it off, we had Tom Gresham on the show. We're celebrating 25 years of Gun Talk Radio this week. Yeah. And we just dropped the show, show number 1 on the podcast today. But we have a little clip from Gun Talk Nation, yes? All right. So let's play that clip from Gun Talk Nation, first episode.
The one story that I will take to my grave that I will never, ever forget, this lady called in, and she said, yeah, I've got a gun for self-defense. You get that occasionally. Okay. And we're talking and all. And the music starts. I got to go to the break. I said, well, appreciate it. Thank you very much. She said, well, yes, thank you. She says, if I hadn't had a gun, neither me or my daughter would be alive today. I said, whoa. We got to go to the break, but you can't go away. Stay right there. We're going to come back. Find out what's going on.
You buried the lead.
Yeah. So I came back after the break. Her name was Bree. Never forget it. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, I had an abusive husband. I said, really? She says, I remember the words. I could hear her voice in my head. She says, I'm not talking bruises. She says, I'm talking broken bones abuse. Going to the hospital abuse. And I would go to the police, and they would say, well, we can't really do anything about it unless he's there when we show up. So we can't, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what she was told. And then on one of these visits to the police department, she said a police officer followed her out to her car. He said, all right, lady, here's the deal. He says, we can't be there when he's there. You have to get an equalizer. I said, what do you mean? He said, you have to get a gun. She said, so I went and got a gun. She says, and then took my daughter, and we moved out at the dark of night. We left the state, ran away from him. She said, and then he found us. And he's beating on the door. This was before 911. So she's on the phone trying to call the police, and she's yelling at the door saying, don't come in, I've got a gun. And he's beating on the door, and finally he kicks in the door. He's coming in saying, I'm going to kill you. She said, then I started shooting. She said, I shot and shot. She says, I never hit him. She says, but I shot all around him. She said, and then the last time I saw him, he was on all fours going across the front yard. She says, and then she says this. She says, and we never heard from him again.
So that's just a sample of our new show, Gun Talk Nation. We'll be doing it each week, so be sure to look for it popping up in your feeds and tune in. We hope you like it. And give us your thoughts and comments and suggestions on that stuff. Now it's time for us to pay the bills, make some payroll. This episode of Gun Talk Live is brought to you by Lockdown. Easy monitoring of your personal gun safe, hotel room safe, toolbox, storage unit, luggage, and more is now an option with the Lockdown Puck. All you need is a Wi-Fi connection to receive notifications from the Puck on your phone about an open door, any detected motion, and even temperature and humidity readings. That's handy for gun safes. Secure what matters most with the Lockdown Puck. Visit lockdownpuck.com to learn more and to pre-order your puck today. And also Ruger. Why do hunters and shooters love the Ruger American Rifle? With right-handed and left-handed versions, all-weather, Magnum, Compact, Predator, Ranch, and Scope package options, there's a Ruger American for everyone. Lightweight with an adjustable trigger and minute-at-angle accuracy. Ruger American Rifles pack in the features. Is the Ruger American the best rifle on the market? See for yourself at your local retailer or at Ruger.com. So there you go. Got to pay the bills. That's the only way this thing happens. So Gary, people are chiming in about lasers, having some discussion there. It's just a subject they like to argue about, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's a fun one to talk about too, because people from both sides, whether they like lasers or don't like them, make good points.
Right.
That's how it is.
So we had a little funny thing happen in the last couple weeks. We had a winner of one of our videos, KJ, Kim Beckwith. And we were like, Kim, so glad she tuned in, so glad she won. Well, you want to explain yourself here?
There's not much explaining I could do. So anyway, I assumed gender, and apparently gets it all the time, which doesn't make me feel any better. But if I ever assume it again, I apologize. And the bad thing is that this dude, I should have known who he was, because he is an accomplished shooter. He is a pro shooter.
Yeah. And we find out.
And I'm completely embarrassed about this, because it's like, geez.
All right, so set this up. You got to do a little web redemption with Kim.
Yeah, I got to do a little web redemption and actually formally apologize, via Skype interview. But to come to find out, he's such an accomplished shooter, and it also happens to be that he's a Brownell's gun guru. Yeah. So, you go onto Brownell's website and you tune this up and you've got a gun question. Well, it's likely that this pro shooter, who he's retired, this is his part-time job, you're probably going to be talking to Kim.
Yeah.
And he's a dude.
So why don't we play that little interview that KJ did with Kim earlier.
Hey, welcome in. And I have to say that I created a massive mistake last week on last week's live. I assumed a gender, which nowadays, how do you even do that? But it gave me a chance to get a little bit more in depth with Mr. Kim Beckwith. And I apologize, Kim. That is my fault. I didn't do my due diligence and do my research, but welcome on the show.
Thank you, and it happens all the time, believe me.
Well, it shouldn't nowadays, and we get that. But when you reached out to me, you said, hey, by the way, I'm on the World Action Pistol Shooting Team that's going to Australia. How in the world does that even happen? And how long have you been competing to achieve this?
I've been shooting at the Bianchi Cup since 1985. That's when I actually asked for sponsorship from Zero Ammunition, from Margaret and Fred Stallings. And it was a phone call. You always ask and you don't know whether you'll hear back. And she called me back in about 10 minutes and said, sure. And I've been with them ever since.
And it just exploded from there. So when does explain kind of for the folks that don't know about the World Action Pistol Shooting Competition, kind of explain, what goes into it and how you get there.
Okay. At the Bianchi Cup, every 2 years, there's a world championship. And it's either in the United States or overseas, and it alternates. And so your last 2 years of competition are averaged out, and they pick the top 12 shooters for 3-4-man people team in open, in metallic, production.
Man, that's big. So you actually won the lockdown puck. They haven't even launched them yet. They've launched them, but they haven't shipped them. So what do you plan on doing with the puck? And I'm assuming by the wall around you that you shoot a lot and you've got a lot of gear.
Yeah, I do. And I have a big walk-in safe that has 8 inches of concrete, top, floors, and sides. And I'm planning on putting it on that. And that way, if that vault door is ever disturbed, whether I'm at home or not, I'll know it.
Yeah. It works out perfect for you because you got all this gear in this room. And now you can monitor your temperature, you monitor your humidity. And it'll send you alerts to your phone, which is nice. And when you're in Australia shooting, if someone opens that door, you get an alert. So that'll be cool.
Well, that's kind of nice. I'm actually looking at buying another one so I can take it with me to Australia to put on my gun cases when I'm not in the room.
Ah, see, another use for it. You're outfitting multiple locations now. You're thinking outside that box. So I do have a question because you also mentioned a little bit after the fact that I kind of admitted my mistake that you also, and you just said this in passing, that you're a Brownell's gun guru. So what is a Brownell's gun guru?
Well, if you get on Brownell's website, there's a chat button up at the top of the page, and that'll get you to one of the gun gurus. And what we do is visit with people when they're buying items from Brownell's to help them make a better informed decision.
Okay, so you've got a lot of experience, and you probably hear just about everything. And you have to chuckle to yourself every once in a while because I even ask some stupid questions on those chats too, because I don't know everything, and I'm free to admit it too. So, what's probably the more interesting and maybe most common question that you often get?
Well, it's kind of funny. My dad always told me the stupidest question is one not asked. So the ones that I get mostly often with the new AR builds and the Polymer 80 builds are people wanting to build a 1911 from scratch, and they don't understand what's involved with that.
I see. I just went through my first full AR-15 build, and I know the pain it takes to get one of those running, especially on your first time build. But a 1911 is just a different creature.
Yeah, everything has to be hand fitted. People don't realize that you get the parts and they're oversized, and then you have to file them or machine them down to make sure they fit, and then trying to get them to run is another thing.
Yeah. Now, speaking of 1911s, you've got an interesting looking gun. And give us a rundown because you showed me right before we did the interview, and I was fascinated by I haven't seen one like this in quite a while. So give us
right here.
Good night. Look, it looks like something out of like Star Wars.
Now, this is a 1911 and 38 Super built by Accuracy X. Steve Huff is a good friend of mine, and we got to visiting. He's built a lot of bullseye guns, and he had started building these a few years ago, and I was needing a new gun, so he decided he'd help me with this. And this will shoot about an inch to an inch and a half group at 50 yards out of a ransom rest.
Good.
And the X ring that we're shooting at is a 4-inch X ring. So it has to be that accurate.
Wow, that's amazing. And if you guys are wondering, Kim and I talked about it beforehand. The gun is unloaded, so don't worry about it. So, all you keyboard warriors out there, don't worry. He's a gun guru. But Kim, when do you take off for Aussie land?
Well, actually, at the end of September, there's 2 matches over there. One's a regional before the World, so that kind of gets you a warm up. And I go over a little early to get over the jet lag because they're 24 hours off. And I've seen what that does. I went to New Zealand 2 years ago on the World team, and I've been to Germany on the World team. In fact, I shot with Julie Glob and Vera Koo and Jesse Duff. So it was, or Harrison. So it was quite an honor to be a thorn among roses.
Oh, absolutely. I'd keep that company any day. But Kim, do you have a website or anything where people can go find out more about you and your travels?
Well, the only thing they can do, I've got obviously a Facebook page, Zero Ammunition also, and they can get on YouTube and Google my name. And I was actually on Jim Scouten's show when I won the first time at the Yankee Cup. So it's a lot of fun.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, Kim, thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate you. And man, we're rooting hard for you here. And you got to keep us updated. So let's say like when you get back in October or something and you want to share how the experience was, we'd love to have you back on.
I'd really enjoy it. And again, congratulations on 25 years.
Man, it's an experience, that's for sure.
Gary, how cool is that? Traveling around the world, competing.
It's amazing. Dream life.
I think in the U.S. we know how much freedom we have, and especially when it comes to guns. But and we go, oh, there's no guns anywhere else. But they do. They shoot guns all over the world.
Absolutely, and good shooters.
Yeah.
Really good shooters.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat. Traveling to Australia, New Zealand, all these different places.
Yeah.
Pistol shooting.
Pistol shooting.
Who knew? And he did mention a kind of a cool use for the puck, like putting it with his gun case in the hotel room to keep an eye on it. I thought that was cool. You actually have a little story from traveling internationally last year, bringing some guns back from Argentina.
That's right.
How'd that go?
That's right. So, I had enough time in Argentina to fall in love with a Weatherby 18i.
Yeah.
And a gun with a lot of stories on it by the time we were done. And then we hunted that morning.
Yeah.
It went in the Pelican, and we were kind of rushing to get to
catch the flight.
To catch the flight. So I was, the shotgun goes in there, and why not my eyes and ears and a bunch of extra stuff I wouldn't have to throw in the bag, and never came home.
So tell them what happened. You connected through Santiago, Chile.
Yep. Connected from Argentina with the 2 feet of paperwork that went inside of the case.
Yeah.
And then we connected to Los Angeles, and then home from there.
All right.
And never made it to Los Angeles. I made it from Argentina to Santiago.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And didn't the guy in Los Angeles say, he was familiar with this? He's seen this before?
Yeah. He said, where are you guys coming from? We kind of told him the quick story, and he said, them are gone.
They're gone.
Yeah.
You're never going to see those again.
Never seen them. And it wasn't, it was 3 Pelicans. It was 3 cases.
With 3 different guns.
3 different guns.
Oh my
all
gosh.
gone. All the rest of the luggage made
And
it.
the airline's like, sorry.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's about
Pretty
it.
much. There was, a little bit of paperwork to be filled out, and the reimbursement doesn't come close to, what it's worth, and
Yeah, so be careful out there. I wouldn't, don't take your nicest gun when you travel internationally, perhaps.
It's not just our own TSA that provides the hassle. So,
Absolutely. What you got?
Well, I think it's important to note that normally when guys take trips like this, they'll use the lodge's guns or something like that. And just as a word of caution, contact the lodge before you go to see what they're using.
Yeah.
Because usually
See
it's
how
like
it
a Benelli Montefeltro or
right,
something
down
like
in
that.
Argentina, a lot
really
those are really
nice. A lot
popular.
of Benelli.
Yeah, we happened to have Weatherby with us, so we had the Weatherby guns, which they were great. But yeah, I mean, if you don't have to, you could just travel down there without guns. The lodge has guns.
And good guns.
That's an easy solution.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not a bad solution if you don't care.
Yeah.
So, Gary, thanks for being with us. You guys are going to see Gary a bunch more. He'll be at the NRA show with us and doing some more things. Be sure to subscribe to the Gun Talk newsletter. We got some stuff coming up you're going to want to hear about. Some giveaways coming up, all that, and more live broadcasts coming up. Anything else, KJ?
Yeah, just on the newsletter side of things, we've got this week, Tom's talking about why you need to shoot fast. So he's got some good tips in there, and he kind of has a little challenge for you to do just to get your brain working. Then we've got some deals on there on Palmetto State Armory lower receivers. And we've got a little piece on 5 appendix carry holsters that don't suck.
Well, that's good. I tend to try to gravitate towards the ones that do suck, but,
You got to run through those first.
Yeah, I'm trying to try everything.
Yeah.
No, actually, there's a lot of good ones out there. Yeah. All right, guys, be careful out there. Go out shooting. Take someone with you shooting. Generally, they're going to like it, and then they're a shooter, and they're on our side.
That's right.
We like that.
That's right.
So that's it for Gun Talk Live. See you guys next time.
Thanks for watching Gun Talk Live. For more great gun content, subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages. You can always watch the Gun Talk channels on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon. And of course, you can always find us at guntalk.com. Thanks for watching.